What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Punch Drunk Nerd, the podcast where three friends, three amigos, three bambinos come together to talk about nerd shit. But this week, the nerd shit we're talking about is Andor. That's right. Andor Season 2 is finally done. The whole series is finally done, and we just had to talk about it. That's why we released this special episode where we're talking about Andor. My name is Luis Gonzalez, and with me is...
Ed.
And Escobar.
That's right. Ed Ball, Steven Escobar. We're coming in here. Guys, I mean, let's just jump right into it. Andor Season 2, initial thoughts. Like, for me, I'm going to just say this and then I'll pass it to you. Like, thank God we have Andor, because this is, for me, and I don't want to be hyperbolic, and I know the rest of the world is saying it, but I mean, it's true. This is probably the best Star Wars thing that we've got in such a long time, especially because we grew up with Star Wars as kids, and now we're older. Like, we deserve this type of content that respects the past, but also respects us as adults. And I think this whole Andor experience has made me fall in love with Star Wars again, retroactively, and be like, you know what? I want to re-explore Star Wars because they added gravitas and meaning to the point of a rebellion. Because before, you didn't have that. You're like, oh, well, yeah, bad guys are bad and good guys are good, and we have to do the good. Like, okay, I get it. But the way that Andor was able to do that through detail throughout this whole season really locked me in, especially in the later half of the season. But I want to throw it to y'all. We've been talking about it a lot. I'm going to go to who wants to talk first, Steven or Ed?
I'll go. It's pointing at me. So, yeah, I like what you said about it. It's like it's like for adults, and not just in a simple way of being it's smart. I mean, it actually feels like the pain that I can feel in my life and the pain I can see in their eyes, that unspoken thing, is something that sometimes, often, you can feel alone, and art helps you not feel alone when you can see that someone else is going through something you're going through. And Andor feels that way. Whereas, you know, if you're watching the prequels, I don't really feel like Yoda's going through what I'm going through. Anakin's not really going through what I'm going through. But it's a fun little story, good guys, bad guys. But in Andor, I feel where I go, here's a political belief I have, and I'm so alone, and it's so crushing, and I feel like it's time to, what do I do, abandon this belief? And then you watch this, and Tony Gilroy is like reaching the screen, like, no, Steven, I've read those same books. You're onto something. You're right. You're not alone. And I feel like, thank you. This is for like me as the adult. There's like a piece of art that's reaching out going, yes, that anxiety you feel, that terror, that political confusion is not just, it's repeated throughout history, and it's even in the galaxy far, far away. Like, this is an adult's understanding of existence. That's it.
And it all feels so tangible too. It's so grounded. It never feels like, even if it feels even remotely preachy, it feels grounded and justified. You know, there are a lot of moments, big moments, that, you know, feel... we'll go into details as we go along, obviously, but yeah, overall, it is just like that mutual respect that it has for its audience. And working with something that is very, yes, embedded in history, but also what's happening currently.
Exactly.
The systematic, ins and outs of the Empire that we've never really seen before, the nuances of what it takes to bring a rebel into rebel factions into an alliance, under one banner to fight that. And it never gives you what I love about this show is it never gives you the easy answers either. Even though, I think a lot of the people, including us, going into Andor, even season 1, a lot of the people were questioning why Cassian Andor?
Right.
Why is that the character that we took away from Rogue One? And they could have done so many cliche eye-roll things, like the adventures of Andor and K2SO.
Right.
And that's exactly what was pitched, was those two, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, them two going on adventures. And then there was another showrunner, and then Tony Gilroy was like, yo, this is pretty shallow. And then he emailed Kathleen Kennedy and was like, this is the vision I have. And things got shifted around, and he ended up becoming the showrunner for this, and we got to see that side.
And thank God. So overall, it just brings a very powerful and poignant, relatable, as you were saying, Stephen, like relatable show to a universe that has needed it for so long, but made me question just like the quality of so much of its content, because it is so good. It is so just immersive. You do feel invested in so many characters throughout it. Even the minute characters that you thought were throwaways, it's crazy what it does and the level. I'll stop blabbering on, but in essence, I basically agree with you guys, and I can't wait to dig into it further. I will say, we were talking about, one quick thing, just where it stood and how it leads into the film, what so many shows and/or movies get it? Try to lead into, the rest of the franchise or something like that. But I did have the privilege of being able to watch the last 3 episodes. I watched the first one last night, and then the remaining 2, and then right into Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
And it is flawless.
Really?
The way that it flows in, literally, I maybe have an hour break in between, but the way that it flows in there with, so much underlying storylines and characters and motivations now that we didn't know leading to Rogue One. And it's not one of the scenarios where it just feels ham-fisted, oh yeah, this is what they were doing right up to that movie kind of thing. It felt so organic. It felt true to the characters. And for me, I actually got a little emotional at the end of it. And we'll get into that. But the flow into it was seamless.
So I think it was so seamless. It was a little bit eerie because I didn't watch the whole Rogue One, but I wanted to see this because they obviously set up, hey, you need to go to this, forget the belt, to talk to this guy. It's
Catherine.
Yeah. And it was oh yeah, this is the first conversation we have during Rogue One, and this is the person that he kills at the beginning, blah, blah, blah. And I wanted to see that transition to be from Andor to that scene. What was it like? So I did skip over the Urso, that whole conversation. Right. I just wanted to see it, selfishly. It was late at night, and I was before I go to bed, let me see it. And holy fuck, did it not just fucking
cool
eerily roll into it? And because the way he was they're doing this big weapon and something Urso or whatever, Jyn Urso, and then he
Galen,
turns to him and he's
it's Galen Urso?
Yeah. And the way that he was so invested into that word is yeah, he was literally did you literally see what happened in Andor season 2?
Yeah. Wow.
It completely this is Andor season 1, Andor season 2, and then they would make an announcement saying, hey, we're going to now have an Andor movie, and it's called Rogue One. And this would be it. It's just, we did things almost like how George Lucas did with doing episode 4, 5, 6, and then doing the prequels. We kind of did that for this, forget the Skywalker 6 or 7, 8, 9. Let's talk about this. This is the new era. And the way that we did that was we did Rogue One, and then we did their prequels. And it was just, yeah. I mean, I can't wait for you, Stephen, for you to see it, but the way that it handed off,
I believe
it was, yeah. And I want to speak to the whole thing about, you feel you're able to relate to the characters, and the whole political situation is kind of oof, certain things that are happening now are kind of echoing to what's happening. And it, for me, my whole experience is just it's all about choice, and does it matter? You know what I mean? Because all these people mean well from both sides, from the Empire to the rebels, and even on each side, they're both fighting each other to being hey,
delusionally,
yeah,
everybody's on the right side,
right, which is Syril and Dedra, right,
yeah.
But also, it's you're in the rebel side, and Luthen throughout this whole thing is and everybody's like, I'm going to kill this other fellow rebel so that I can, get the rebels ahead. And same with the Empire. Everybody is like the fact that Emperor Palpatine has put everybody in this fucking situation where now everyone is turning on each other just to fucking survive because of one man who wants to have power over everybody.
Dude,
is fucking bullshit.
But like, this is what I mean. I love what you just said, because it's like you could show. I wish I was still teaching. You could show this to like students, and they will pull fascism out of it. Like, they're like, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. It's like, you just described fascism. Like, what you're saying, exactly one of the tenets of fascism. The way there's a cult cultural leader, like one guy on top, and everyone else gets crunched on below. But you think, you're like, well, I'll be close enough to that guy to be in group with him, and so you got to crunch the people beneath you, and you're all turning because you're not that one guy. This is like a hallmark of fascism, like what you're saying.
The propaganda factor.
Watch Andor. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. But to add to that, the propaganda effect, history is always written by the winners. Especially the Gorman story arc. Like, what a powerful, just all too real unfolding of events.
Arc, the 789 series of episodes, like that made everything work and worth it. Because I felt like season 2, I was so excited for Andor. And then I don't know how you guys felt, but I was like, okay, we're getting into this, we're simmering, we're loading into it. And I knew I could give Tony the patience that he deserved. I was like, okay, I'm a little bit not in sync with you right now, but I see what you're throwing down, me personally. And I see what you're throwing down, and I'm going to trust you. And thank God I did, because once things started going, it curved upwards, and it was supported by everything that was developed at the beginning of season 2.
Yeah. And it was a little bit more gradual, I feel like, than the clear-cut 3-episode arc of each story in season 1. I feel like there was like a lot more of a gradual build over, say, like after the first 3 episodes. It really was 6 episodes that were devoted to that Gorman storyline, like the initiation of the Imperial presence there, the gradual build of the tensions, the rebels on Gorman, who are naive but also suspicious and angry that this stuff is happening, and so reactionary, and it's the reaction that sparks the it's all of these things that come into play, and it all the while we're seeing it on both sides. So we see the plan, the trap that they're setting out, and they're falling for it step by step, and even when they bring in the best people like Cassian and
Cassian was like, they're not ready, and he's like, they shouldn't. And then Luthen was like, yeah, but if Gorman burns, then that light will burn bright, and it's just like,
and the people on Gorman, they're even saying, well, what do you want us to do? Just sit back and do nothing? Like, it's like, we're angry. We need to stop this. And
but then what's it, Dedra, or she's basically like, that is what we want. We want to lure you and bait you so that you do become angry. But then you're on the other side, and you're like, well, what do we do? Do we not fight? Do we, like, I'm choosing to rebel, but does that even matter?
Because guess what? The Empire's going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the building of the tension and the anger over the course of those 6, especially those last 3 episodes of that story, was so palpable. And by the march going, building up to the protest, was, again, it was just like one of those surprisingly emotional moments, because you feel the frustration and the anger of the people, and you have a lot of just random supporting players who really give it a lot of weight. If we're going to get into it real quick. So there's one guy, the character is called Caro Rylands, played by Richard Sammel. He was the older guy, from Gorman, who owned the storefront. He was the one who told Andor that he was disappointed in his
bastards.
Yeah. Yes. And but man, what a powerful moment when he confronts Syril on the streets, and he's like, "What kind of being are you?
What kind of being? That would be great."
So, like, he called it. He was just like, "You're all gonna die if you follow through with this. It's a trap." And then, he confronts him with that, and then ultimately pulls that trigger too, which was a nice surprise. But like, God, how powerful was that moment? Like, somebody could have just come in, been a real throwaway role, but he really gave it some depth. That's why I like. It took me a while to find his name, but Richard Sammel, like, take all the awards, baby. That was a stellar performance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, once they started singing like their La Marseillaise in the town square, I was like, it's good. They're direct doing this French resistance thing. Maquis, this is the direct French resistance. They're not prepared. And they're going to get steamrolled, and but we can't just abandon them. There are so many elements where I feel like I'm going, hey, I know what, like, there'll be a line that's like a direct quote from like Proudhon, like an anarchist philosopher. And I'm like, hey, I wonder if Tony Gilroy knows. Of course, Tony fucking Gilroy knows. You know, there's so many things I love. Those are the moments when I'm watching something. I'm like, this dude is outpacing me so far, and he's writing. Like, he's writing shit. Like, he's outpacing. Meanwhile, I watch some other Star Wars stuff. Not all. I'm not a hater on, like, but some Star Wars stuff I watch, I wish I could have story edited that. I wish I could have fixed your script because it's not ready. And then I watch Tony Gilroy, and I'm like, don't let me anywhere near your script because I would ruin it. I don't feel worthy of this show. It's so good to me, and it checks all the boxes that I feel like it's not even written for me. It's written for someone much smarter than me. Like, this is for like academics to like break down, because I guarantee you, like, someone like David Graeber would be having these philosophers would be having or political philosophers would be having a blast with this. They must be. I don't know if any of them are speaking. I got to.
I feel, even just like as a basic Star Wars fan, I feel spoiled. I feel spoiled. It's just like, damn, like, is this content really Star Wars? Is this really what I'm watching? And I know there's been some dissension about just like, it doesn't have the Star Wars feel, and I get that. It doesn't have that like adventure element to it. It definitely is more political, dramatic thriller, but not necessarily in a bad way. Well, not at all in a bad way, in fact, obviously, because we love it. But it just strives to tell it in a different light, and again, a way that is so believable and emotional. Like Star Wars has never felt so real and poignant.
Never felt like, holy crap, we do need to rebel. You know what I mean?
And for the first time, I feel like I'm going to die. Like, if I'm any one of these people, I am going to die. For the first time watching Star Wars, I'm worried for my own safety in this universe. I go, I'm not making it through. For the first time.
And like that, you see a little bit of that when Andor, just like, he's in that kind of like Florida planet where he's like relaxing, and he literally loiters, and they're like, you're going to jail. And it's like, no matter what, you're being controlled. But I want to get back to that. But Ed, you were talking about how people were like, this doesn't feel like Star Wars. But when I was watching it, the way that they utilize close-ups in this series is just mind-boggling, because the way they're able to catch that like gritty Star Wars texture of just things and practicality, like this is very much Star Wars. The way that episodes 7, 8, and 9 was trying to recapture the magic of the old trilogy, they capture that, and even more so, they even capture the prequel magic. Like the way they're able to blend the fucking world of Coruscant and the politics with Yavin, the Yavin or whatever.
When you're
able to those aesthetics together, you're like, yeah, that makes fucking sense. And you can see it as the series go on, the way it gets more and more transitions
and
into
the way,
what we know from the. It's just like, this is so fucking Star Warsy in the design that I can't help but just carried away in it.
From the blasters, I think it works even better too when it's only peppered with, you know, aliens and droids and stuff like that. It's not just like overwhelming, like, oh, this is Star Wars, this is sci-fi.
Like the hospital
like,
scene when she's sneaking into the hospital and she takes that old, you know, grandma character up the level. It's a fucking like Star Wars alien, but you like just roll with it because it's like everything feels so truthful. And it's like you're peppering it in the right way at the right time.
Yeah, exactly. That more like dirty analog-y equipment. The way that they use the radio comms, you know, where it's just like plugging in like different cables, trying to find a different line.
Piecing it together. I loved how they pieced up like the intercom and the weapons. Like they're like, it was all modular. You know.
Yeah, love that.
It's just like.
I like the lightsabers less than the knobs and more. Like I like Han Solo working on the Millennium Falcon more than I like necessarily just blood.
Well, and you know what's fascinating too is like, and I want to get more to the like political talk again, but you know the fact that this made me fall in love with Star Wars so much more because we have this story, thank God, but the way that Star Wars is able to capture almost two streams of thought, two streams of storyline, where you have the rebels, the humans, and like that all of this going on. But then you also have this higher up Jedi versus Sith, you know, Force story that's going above, because those two are interconnected. Like the fact that the Jedi were so, maybe this may be disagreed, but like they were arrogant or blind the way that the Sith were, because they were so big that complacent. It created this, you know what I mean? But we can, hey, you know what? You can enjoy the Jedi story or you can enjoy the Rebel story. The way that this fucking franchise can cover both the same stream is just like incredible. And I feel like if we're able to get a story like this for the Jedi, which I'm at this point, I'm happy with what I got. I could die happy. And you know what? If Andor season 1 and 2 is all we have, then that's fine, because this was like peak. But
I feel like it's something that I feel like was hinted at, to your point, on the two different sides, that I feel like they were building to or could have built to in The Acolyte. You know, I felt like there were threads of that kind of, because you found yourself questioning the Jedi Order in that series, and that is a new feeling. You know,
for some, that's what I mean. For some,
but like in general, but you're seeing it there, instead of seeing them on the collapse, you're seeing when they're in a state of power, and that those same mistakes that we see the Empire making in Andor. You know, the bureaucracy of it all. It's just like, oh, well, you know, we have like a protocol and stuff, but there are some things that we definitely have to sweep under the rug because that looks bad on us or whatever. That I agree, I guess, is what I'm saying. Is like, I feel like there is that potential, but yeah, if Andor is all we get of that, as far as, you know, the creme de la creme, then so be it.
Yeah, agreed. I agree. It's funny because that's exactly that complacency that the Emperor gets in Return of the Jedi. They just swap, you know, power gets.
Yeah.
Do you know what's funny is like, you know, there's this question of like, okay, hold on, I had this line here. Let's say, how can it will force people to turn on each other for their cause? And you see this happen with Saw Gerrera and the rebels with Luthen. Like the rebels wouldn't be where they were if it wasn't for Luthen. You know what I mean? And you also have Krennic turning on Dedra because Dedra's like investigating. All Dedra wants to do is take down Access. So does Syril. All Syril wants to do is do what's right. Like some people, like season 1, some people died, and he's trying to find out who fucking killed them. You know what I mean? And he comes from a place where the Empire running, so he has those resources. But all that to say is like Dedra, like imagine if she wasn't put to jail. You know what I mean? Imagine if she didn't go to jail. How valuable would have she been to the Empire because she was so meticulous and looking? Like if you didn't turn on your own, imagine how successful the Empire could have been. Because you're right. By the time we get to 4, 5, 6, the reason why they're able to slink in is because they became kind of complacent, right? Like they're able, like, oh, well, we're better than everybody. And we know, nobody can stop us. We've got the Death Star. you know, so nobody can stop us.
But that, oh man, so brilliantly depicted in the final episode, though, with Dedra's superior officer, Major Partagaz, the older guy from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And just that moment where we come into, well, actually, before that, him and Krennic have a conversation that all of a sudden you realize that both of their guards are down and their composure is down, and they're just both being very real with each other, and it's just like, we're in trouble, aren't we? kind of thing. Yeah. It's like, you've been in charge of the Death Star project, you've been in charge of keeping it under wraps and making sure they get the resources for it. And they're both being like pushed against the wall, and like at some point they're going to have to meet their maker. Or
and he's like, I can't protect you anymore. Or he said some sort of line. Of,
yeah, it's like, after this, you should have been done with the Death Star. Like, I could have kept this under wraps if you'd wrapped up on the Death Star sooner. And it's just like, all right, good luck. And they actually have, like, for Director Krennic, who is the guy who is just all about his intimidation persona. For a moment there, he just has like the weakest, like, you know, just little nod where you just like, he knows how much trouble he is about to be in, but he tries to keep up this air of intimidation, and he knows exactly what needs to be done, kind of thing. So hurry up and get it done. But man, that moment was very like just telling again something. So much nuance that they brought to, again, the dark side or whatever, just from both perspectives. It's not just like, oh yeah, these guys are all idiots. It's like, no, these guys are realists. They live in a very real world.
Absolutely. This is what I mean by the political awareness of Tony Gilroy. This is clearly, I hate to just gush about some dude I've never met, but like, this is clearly a well-read, reflective, intellectual adult, because what he's doing is not going, oh, you know where Nazis came from? They were all big meanies. Like, a lot of times people
they all killed themselves when they lost.
Right. It's like, not exactly. Like, there's truth to that. There's obviously a lot of like white supremacy boils down to bullying and feeling small. But this is where you get like the banality of evil, like from Hannah Arendt. No, these are just bakers and shoppers, and they're doing simple things like Syril, like, hey, this guy killed a guy I knew. I've got to find him. Let's hunt him down. Before you know it, you've served the means of the fascist regime. Like, it's not some weird, evil, cruel monster. It's really just like a shitty bureaucrat, or just someone like Dedra just wants a promotion. Like,
basically, it's as soon as the Emperor took control, whatever their role was merely shifted under that authority. So it's really just like, for so many people like Dedra, who is more of the fanatical believer in the Empire, who, like, that moment where she confronts Luthen, it's just like, and here you were hiding under the protection of the Empire, you know, the Imperial system, you know, so, you know, blindly devoted to the same people who are going to throw her in jail because of her shortcomings, you know.
That's the idea. It's like, you know, like Ernest Rahm, like Night of Long Knives and stuff. He's like, hey, no, you're not anymore, and you just kill. You're done. Your use is done. It's all about and you are not him. You're done. Like, it's there's the idea that you would have. This is why Syril and them, you just want to like, I want to be like, Syril, you got to read more, but he can't. You want to be like, this is the MO of every organ. They're going to use you. They're going to crunch you into dust, and they're going to throw you away because it's not about the group or, you know, Germany, or it's about this small.
And I think there's this whole question asked throughout this whole season is like, I feel like I don't have any choice. Like, I feel like I have no agency. I feel like no matter what I do, I'm not deciding my fate or who I am. And that was something that even Bix was going through. She felt like she had no agency or choice, and she got depressed until that moment where she goes and kills that person, and she finally like,
that felt everything. So good too.
You know what I mean?
I was so worried it would be a dream the whole time. I was like, please don't wake up. You know, please don't wake up. I was so worried. But yeah,
I mean, I'm curious to like, I don't
know.
She
took Cassian's choice away when she left. I mean, she, you know, there's a lot of, it feels like
exactly,
and there's a lot of like, like Andor saying in 9, he says like, I only have one skill and it's luck, and I've run out. And it's like, not yet, man. They're like destined for this. Like,
but you are in the movie.
You are with the Force. Like, you have a place to go. You're going to be good until you get to that place.
You are with the Force. God, this is the way that the fucking spider web of everything is so fucking crazy. Like, it's just like you're going here, but you're here and you're there, and it's just like it's so 3D storytelling.
That's what I mean.
It's so.
They are
amazing. I think any franchise would be lucky to have.
I mean, this is HBO. This is HBO. This is HBO. Like, Disney Plus should not be having this show. Yeah. This is an HBO fucking show, and it does better than other HBO shows. Like,
yeah.
100%.
All right. Well, let's talk about like specific moments and episodes. Obviously, there's 12 episodes. They released it in increments of 3. But yeah, like what was some of, I guess, I don't want to talk about the bad stuff, but let's talk about all the great stuff. Let's go around and say one favorite bit.
My favorite moments in
or episode,
even in season 1 are when like the monologues, like when Luthen gives his my dreams of ghosts and stuff. There were like 3 in this one that just I replayed them several times. But one of them that I loved so much, I love this show because a lot of times, again, like I say, I'll think of something, like I'll be like, oh, I'll say a line, and then the character will say the line, and I'll be like, yeah, because this is a quote from like Lenin. Like, this is a quote from a history book, so I'll know what's coming. But when they do their on Gorman, when Cinta dies on Gorman, and they're driving away, I was like, are you crying? And she's like, are you crying? It isn't like some be a man, have some macho shit. It's like, yeah, welcome to the fight, homie. You know why you're crying? Because you weren't ready. Because this is your first fight and your first kill, and you were a baby playing an adult with an adult weapon. That's what you are. You should have listened to the adults in the room, but you didn't. You don't have the right to cry. You now have to go do something. It's time to dedicate yourself to Gorman and the rebellion so that she doesn't die in vain. That's why I'm not crying. Because even though I lost the love of my life, it's about the rebellion. We're going forward to topple an empire. This is not the time for your little personal feelings, even though they're valid and they're real. I'm not trying to ignore it. I'm saying that's how I know you're not a soldier. That's how I know you're not a fight. You better get ready for the fight. So the next time
Andor fucking said that. He said, like, you are not ready for this.
You're not ready. You are not ready for the fight. First time someone dies accidentally, you're going to start crying. Like, you are not ready. She says you're going to wear this, like, skin. I love it.
Because he even says, like, it's a good plan, but your plan also involves announcing yourselves to the world.
That's right.
As, terrorists, as rebels, however they're going to frame it, but that's what you are announcing yourself as. And that's the other thing too. It's like every little thought, every little action has a consequence in this show.
Yeah.
Good or bad, you know what I mean? Like, and a lot of it is luck when it comes to the good stuff, but that's what it does so amazingly is with a character that we all know is going to die in the movie in the end, regardless, you are still on the edge of your seat worrying about what the fuck is going to happen to him. Like no, Cassian, stop going to save people. You're going to get killed. But no, he just keeps going back. It's so good. Sorry, I digress from what you were talking about, Stephen. But
no, just that, because my second favorite part was when, literally, this is my favorite part of the whole season, because I've noticed that I didn't realize how unloved these characters were, or how the side eye these characters got when I'm like, oh, my politics are completely different from most other like white Americans. Is like it'll be Saw Gerrera and Luthen are my favorite. I don't think they've ever said anything wrong. I don't think they've ever done anything wrong. I don't think there's any mistakes that they've made. Fundamentally, everything they do and say is completely correct. I agree with it 1010% from a political standpoint. They were exactly right. This is how you run a revolution. It's the only way to run a revolution. There's no other way. So when Saw Gerrera was talking about the Rido, this is my sister Rido, and she loves me. And I thought, I'll bet you, like, every single like English speaker this and like not get what's happening, or not understand the gravitas of the scene or what he's telling him to do. I think they just go, oh, this guy's crazy. And then he addresses that. He's like, am I crazy? Yeah, you got to be insane to be revolutionary.
Yeah.
People can go to the beach and you can go sit over there and you can go vote and like march and all this stuff. But the people who changed their country's constitution picked up bombs and guns.
Well, you know what? I would love to talk about Mon Mothma, because this is like you see the other side of her where she's like she's trying to do it through the system. She's trying to do it peacefully. They're like, working underground, and she's just like, I have to say something, and we have to do without. And her and Luthen start to butt heads, being like, no, we have to kill this person because they're a threat to us. Yeah. Remember, like she was being, it was
her
like,
friend, right?
Yeah, her friend was like, I'm going to tell people on you if you don't help me. And then Luthen's like, I'm just going to kill them. And then she's like, no, we can't. And it's just like she slowly begins to understand what's going on, and especially when Andor kills the driver, he's like, welcome to the rebellion. It's like, this is what's going on.
When her and Luthen are having that conversation, and she's like, I'm not sure what you mean. And he's like, how nice for you. Yeah, like,
that's what I mean.
Brutal.
That's what I said. It's like, how nice for you. How adorable to be while in your tower, while you're fighting with words. Meanwhile, the soldiers are busy. Meanwhile, death and blood is all around us. How nice for you. That's what I mean. Welcome to the rebellion. It's about.
But again, to her credit, I mean, she's the one who is publicly putting herself out there, where most people are too afraid to do that.
100%. 100%. All the credit.
She's got to be. She's the face for the public to see that. Yeah, actually, these things are not normal, and these are not okay.
Isn't that crazy, though? It's like she has to be the face, so she has to be a little bit more coy, but then if you're behind the scenes, you can be more aggressive. It's just like, wherever you're placed, it's just, there's no one formula for everybody for this rebellion.
These are all historical functionaries in revolution throughout history. Yes, all had their place in history. Like when Russia fell, all these people existed. Like they were all there. This is what revolution is. You're right. She has her place and she's doing her job. Yeah.
And she's perceived as a radical amongst her peers at the Senate, where everybody else is just like, oh well, you're not fighting hard enough. It's like, no, she's the one in the public eye. She's the one that Palpatine is going to recognize. Yeah. Again, this is like something that I loved in the first season, and I love it even more in this season, is just how Palpatine is just this looming figure over the whole scenario. Yeah. You never see him. You never
the
hear
Emperor
him.
has interest in this. You know what I mean? How they always throw that line.
This is a priority for the Emperor and shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like that making it's mentioned in the show. It's just like they're making a monster out of this guy who we've seen him. We've seen his face. We know where he comes from, or how he came to power. But just having him as a background, like imaginary figure, almost like a ghost or a phantom, is just kind of adds that extra layer, because all these people are answering to a name, a figure that you never see, and they will never see in their lifetime. The fact that the only person who got to meet the Emperor and talks about it is K2SO. Towards the end, he's just like, I remember seeing it that day. I saw the Emperor. It's like, cool.
That's right. Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. I think you were saying like favorite moments. Two of them for me was the Gorman, like the square Gorman, when everything just falls apart, because that was the moment when I felt, I don't know, just complete loss and fear. And this was like the black hole of everything. And maybe it wasn't for the whole like Star Wars rebellion story, if you look at it from eyes up, but from a personal experience and the way that Tony Gilroy was able to express that to me, I'm like, this is the lowest of the lowest we've ever kind of really been. And everyone just kind of fell down this rabbit hole. And there was like a cathartic experience, like almost like an anti-cathartic experience, if that, I don't know. And that was, so the Battle of Gorman, like that was like very impactful for me. And the second one was Kleya and Luthen with their storyline, when Luthen kind of kills himself, and then Kleya has to go in and kill him. Yeah, finish the job. And the way that relationship between the two, because it's such like this is bigger than you, and I don't know, there's just something about how the rebellion is bigger than all of us, and you get to see how that happened. It's like he saved her so that she could kill him.
They're passing
so that the rebellion can. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Somebody laid out a list of basically the information of the Death Star plans, all the way from the what's his name, Lonnie Young, the guy that fucking Luthen brutally kills off camera. There.
This is what I mean. Yeah, I'm still okay. See, this is what I mean by I haven't seen it yet, but I'm like, okay, I hate to say this, but we got to kill Lami. That's the first.
Yeah. He's freaking out, and we need to put it just
gotta put him down.
Yeah,
the rebellion's too important, things like that. And then someone will be like, what? But why would you do that? Luthen's a monster. No, he's not. He's smart. He's exactly correct. Every time they do something, I'm like, exactly correct, perfectly.
But that's the thing. It's like when you're in the rebellion, okay, if it was me and I was in Gorman, or if I was in some sort of situation, I feel like after seeing this, it's like no matter what, I have to move forward and fight, but I'm also fucked no matter what, because somebody could use me, somebody could kill me for knowing something. Even though I'm just trying to push forward the rebellion and I have to fight and I have to do something, but
I'm also what Lonnie was doing.
But I'm also a toy. It's just well, then it is an impossible situation to be in.
That's why she's my sister, Rido, and she loves me. If you're still trying to hold on to some type of life, you're ridiculous. If you're holding on to sanity in this time, there's something wrong with you. That's the point. She is my sister, Rido, and she loves me. Exactly. We're both going to hang before this is over. You're going to die. I'm going to die. The question is, how are you going to die? If you're still trying to get out of this, you don't know you're not a hero. If you're still on to the beach, like Andor was
already dead, is kind of the thing.
Yeah, we are too good and too smart to walk away from this.
We're the Walking Dead.
I agree with you. You're right. All those pains are the exact problem. There's no walking away from this. Like Luthen told Lonnie, I think, there's no getting out of this. It's you're in. It's over. We're going to... Or we die.
He has so many. I mean, throughout the whole season, he's kind of been series rather. He's been an MVP, but Luthen has some great lines. That one where Dedra has confronted him, and he says, "There's a whole galaxy out there waiting to disgust you." I just thought was so just brilliant in a way, just because she really is. Just of the mindset that the Empire is right. Everybody agrees, and you guys are crazy.
Right. They're just like this. The elimination of this half of the population for rising up is a necessary good because we are order and we are justice and we are morality and you are the bugs. Yeah.
Right.
There's just a fascist mentality. Right.
Exactly. I was so glad to see K2SO. He brought a little bit of levity back. Especially after the Gorman story arc, that was a nice touch. We were all waiting for it, I think. It was, but I mean, we were also so immersed in the storyline, it didn't matter. If he showed up at the end, it wouldn't have mattered,. But he was great.
Yeah, I honestly wasn't expecting him to show up really at all. I was just you know what, I'm fine with him not showing up, but they did, and it worked.
It was well. I knew they had to establish that relationship that they clearly had in Rogue One prior to it. So they had to be some sort of level of that. And I thought it worked to great effect. It didn't feel shoehorned in. It felt natural, and it flowed into Rogue One so seamlessly. But his little action bit when they're pinned down in the apartment buildings,
complex,
the blocks
in Coruscant,
man, when he gets officer in command and starts using him as a human shield, I was just what a brilliant way to end that character. All of a sudden he's walking out of the smoke and that guy is dead as hell and they keep shooting him. It's just great, man. Again, for such a serious show, the little moments of levity were most welcome.
And how important is resources? Imagine if they didn't have that resource. You know what I mean? This whole thing is about getting enough resources so that you can combat back.
Right,
if they didn't have him.
At the beginning of the season, too, when he hijacks that TIE fighter or whatever. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
That was a cool little bit. But I do, if we were going to talk about one negative, the story arc and the first 3 episodes regarding that one rebel faction where Andor where Andor gets stuck.
Yeah.
So stupid.
That was the thing I was talking about as far as resources go, because it took me time to reflect, because I've been rewatching or re-listening and trying to understand, and maybe execution wise it wasn't like I feel you, because I wasn't like pulled to it, but conceptually speaking, like this is Yavin with nobody there, with rebellions that have no leadership and no resources. They don't even have food, and look what happens when we don't feed them resources or rebellion. It just dies. And that's what Mothma, that's what everyone is trying to do. They're like Saw Gerrera, he's trying to take the gas. Everybody is dying or fighting, so that what happened at Yavin with these two rebel groups doesn't happen at a large scale, and we see them just fighting each other, and it's like, bro, we're on the same side, but we're all
and I agree. That was also very odd. I didn't enjoy it at all. I didn't enjoy it, but it also
the pacing for the rest of the show. The pacing was, especially with that part of the story. Like, I got the meeting between the Imperial officers as in regards to their approach to Gorman. I thought that was a clever way of demonstrating, all the different elements that go into play of like fascist propaganda and movements. Like, hey, we're going to mine the shit out of this planet. This is what we got so far, kind of thing. But yeah, that whole story, the Andor part of that was kind of, they could have moved that along. I think they established what they were trying to say in the first episode with that,
and they kept at it. Yeah.
And they kept at it for two more episodes. Like, goddamn. But literally the only negative I could find. But let's see, what else was there? I mentioned the demise. I said that the ending teared me up a little bit, but man, when they revealed Bix and they had her holding a baby, that was so devastating to me.
The baby. Yes. Hell yeah. You're talking about, but he's gonna live on. That's awesome. Okay,
he's gonna live on, but like, it just really did make that whole scenario so tragic because he never knew. He was just going on the next mission. Like, the way they staged that is just like Rogue One for Cassian. He was just going on his next mission that continued until obviously it became clear he wasn't going to get out of the situation. But he didn't
until he chose his final mission, which was a suicide mission.
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm. But not knowing where Bix had ended up, not knowing that she was pregnant that entire time, and not knowing that he had a son at the end of it. I mean, it was so beautiful, but God, that really got me. Like, the moment they revealed that baby, I was just like, and that's probably like the dad in me, but I was just like, oh God, that really hit. And I was really wondering if we were going to see Bix again, or if that was just kind of going to be like a untie. Well, I forget the name of his droid, the red one with the stutter.
B2 emo or something like that. Yeah, I always liked him. I thought it was.
I loved him. Yeah, I always thought I wanted them to get back together. In a perfect world. Alas, he got left behind. I felt so bad for him. I was just like, well, what about him? You guys left him on the fucking planet, you pricks.
Yeah, and he was so needy, too.
And he's going to be like,
Cassian.
Yeah, oh, man. Breaks my heart.
That's the rebellion, I know. This is the horror, and again, this is the horror of fascism, all the things we have to say, all the lives, and I don't just mean someone dying, I mean not getting to live. All the lives lost, all the time lost.
There was so much time bickering. Obsession. Yeah, exactly.
Bickering.
They brought back the manifesto from the character from season 1.
Oh yes, I love that too. That was so good.
Where he was just
so good,
very effective.
Yeah, and I think it's just control is unnatural, or
fascism, that this power is unnatural, and so they have to continue to fight because freedom in the rebellion is natural. That's a very natural thing to fight for your rights. It's a very unnatural thing to try to suppress someone's rights, and all throughout human history, a few people have been trying to do that, and all we do is fight back. It's just been like the
what did they say? Like, the tighter the grip, the more that squeezes through,
slips through.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like the Sith. Yeah, I mean, you tuck it back to the Jedi, like the Sith Lord. Everybody always says like, "Oh, the Sith's way is unnatural for a reason," and macro version of it all. Yeah, it is unnatural because they try to squeeze and it's have control and you get immediate kind of results right away. You have power for the certain amount of time, but it doesn't last.
Yes, this would be so. In the class, I would go here. Let's look at our timeline of fascist regimes. Let's see how long they actually last. Hitler's 1,000-year plan lasted like 5? He didn't even get to it. They can never ever see it through. It's always self-cannibalizing. It never works ever. It just steals people's lives on the way to failure.
Yeah, if it's not being resisted against, it's falling. It's cracking on the inside.
Yeah,
because
it cannot survive.
There's too many people who have too much at stake ultimately. Because they're put into those situations. It's like, oh well, I better do a good job at this, or my family is going to face ruin, and I'll be thrown in prison.
And even if you do a good job, you might just still get fucked.
Yeah, exactly. Man, all too real for Star Wars, but somehow it fucking works.
I could never imagine trying to, because I love that it exists, because trying to explain these things without a backdrop is almost impossible.
Yeah.
Like if I just take like someone I know and I start saying these things, they're going to go, how much Rhydonium have you been huffing? They look at you like you're crazy. And then you show them Andor and they're like, oh yeah, of course I get it. Oh, you get it now? Like, you couldn't read it. You had to see it. But I'm not trying to be rude. I'm saying that's a natural human thing. We need to see it. We need to experience it. We have to feel it.
We have to feel it. We have to have that connection.
Yes. Tony Gilroy's he is like an anti-fascist hero almost at this point. He is almost one of these philosophers, political philosophers like Noam Chomsky. He has done about as much work on this topic now as Noam Chomsky has done with all of his writings. Even though Noam Chomsky's better and smart, they're saying the same things. And look how many people Tony Gilroy's touching with Disney Plus. Absolutely. It's fucking working.
Yeah,
it's amazing. I'm flabbergasted. This is so popular. I would expect this to be no one wanted to talk about it, but everyone wants to talk about it. It's amazing.
Well, it proves that. Yeah, it's just like every now and again, we dum-dums, the audience, we get stuff, we appreciate, things. We don't need just, fucking the most ridiculous storylines served on a silver platter of CGI. Just give us real, heartfelt stories with true, earnest characters. Give us something to care about. And I watched this and I think, how the fuck did the Rise of Skywalker even happen? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
It's just it's egregious, just where this franchise has gone in the past, and then where this leaves it. I hope it gives pause to any of the future creators of any upcoming projects with Star Wars, and indeed any other franchise, TV or movie or otherwise. Just respect your audience enough. They can be as smart as you. You don't have to just fucking feed them bullshit just to, again, get that content out there, get the views, Like I said, I strongly believe that the Acolyte could have contributed to a new, a new order for Star Wars. You know what I mean? There was potential there, and maybe one day they'll circle back and address that. But yeah, I think there's something to be said when you have a respect for the audience instead of condescending to them. You're not going to get this, so let's dumb it way fucking down. Here's some Easter
somehow
eggs.
Palpatine returned.
Yeah, somehow Palpatine returned. Exactly.
It's no, we do care. Please tell us how. No, we care. I
want to see. I want to see the autopsy. Give me all of it. Who fished that motherfucker out? I don't know.
I want the ISB meeting where they come talk about what they're going to do now.
When have you ever been in the edge of your seat about the senators talking, the office meetings, where they're going to go?
Every time I see that ISB room, I'm like, yes. Why? I'm so excited to see a freaking meeting.
Exactly.
I'm so excited to see it.
Even from like just like the story, like I think the care that Tony was able to give through the whole series comes together and allows it to be just more digestible. Like even like you said, the ISB room, the design of how simple and clear and crisp and I don't know, just the way that it's able to capture the spirit of the Imperial without overdoing it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like sometimes you busy things up a little bit, and I feel like there was a very clean aesthetic, even with the dirty and grime with the rebels, and even up to the the ISB,
Senate?
yeah, the Senate.
Oh, the ISB,
yeah. Both like people of power. I have to shout out the people, the design team, and the way that they were able to like,
amen,
give, the way they were able to shape all of these scenarios, all of these scenes, the way that they're able to just, I don't know, say, hey, you're telling that story. Well, we're going to match with you. And we're also going to keep that same level and tone so that we're all kind of speaking the same language. And
yes,
man, this is, I can't wait to rewatch this show and to learn more. And I mean, Steven, you're right. Like going through this show allowed my eyes to be opened to like, I don't know, some new things that I get it.
Well, and the message I would send to people, I was just talking about this with my niece the other weekend, but it was like the message I would send to these people is that this is what's happening now. It's like it's easy to feel hopeless and helpless and alone and despair. And that's what they want. That's the goal. That's the function. But also you're not. That despair is a communal feeling. We just don't communicate about it enough. We don't know how to have community anymore in the modern era. We don't know how to communicate that, but that's what this is. And the reason why I think the show's resonating so much is because we all recognize this bullshit. Like, and if we were in those positions, we would do that. We understand the pain they're feeling. So then when it's like, hey, do you know what's happening in Congo right now? And someone's like, who cares? Well, the people in Congo care, and they're feeling a lot like Andor feels. Like they're giving those speeches that Saw Gerrera gave, you know? Totally. But that's who cares. And so when we see this, if you feel it, if you engage it, understand how many people in the world are going through that, even in this country right now. Like that pain, that fear is not something that we can allow to defeat us, even in our mind. Like my niece was like, what can I do? And I'm like, it's right here. It starts right here in your mind. Just don't let it consume you. Don't let it eat you. It can be hard, but know that I'm as angry as you are. You're not alone. There's a lot of rage, a lot of anger. And we are the Righto kid. We're the thing that sparks in the air and there's too much pressure. What do you say? I can't remember. But that's a fact. It becomes so much overwhelming pressure that the Death Star gets blown up. Not that someone sat down and said, what should I do today? Oh, I know. I'm going to blow up the Death Star. It's people who have no other choice. It's people who are backed into a corner who've seen their families massacred that pick up a gun. It isn't just people feeling spoiled or whiny. Rebellions are based off of nothing left to lose, which is what we are feeling when we watch this. And that's why I think it's such beautiful politics, is because you have to understand that feeling is something a lot of people all over the world are feeling about their prospective governments. That's how they're feeling. So when they fight back, it's easy to go like, oh, why are they fighting back? Why don't they just have a sit down or something? Why they sing Kumbaya? Because they're not allowed to. They're being hunted. The unloved, the hunted, the cannon fodder. That's who they are. Well, we sit in our homes and we watch a TV show. But it's coming. Do you want to be cannon fodder? Do you want to be unloved? Right. It's coming. And there are people in this country right now that are being hunted. Go ahead. I'm done. I can do this all day. I can polemic all day.
But it puts that question to you as well throughout the show. It's just like, are you going to sit back and just see what happens, or are you going to do something about it?
Yeah.
And
eventually there won't be a choice. This is the only reason I pointed out is because eventually there's no choice. Right. Someone like Saw Gerrera has no choice. He's not like Mon Mothma, who has a choice. So a lot of these people who were like, he was a slave pretty much, they have no choice. They don't get to do something else. There is no alternative option. That's why he means she's my Righto. She's my sister and I love her. There is no other option. He's done. He didn't choose to ingest Righto. It was put on him by the Emperor. And now he's got no fucking choice. This is the only way he can calm down. She's my sister and I love her. He's made peace with this oppression and he's going to turn it back on these oppressors. There's a time coming when there won't be enough to just vote or to just vote with our dollars. Like I'm going to boycott this company. A time could come when it's time to do something. And when that time comes, thank God there's a show like Andor. So we can go, you want to be like Andor or you want to go, run away?
Or you're going to be like the Mandalorian and
like the Mandalorian. It's just, I can't believe I'm seeing it because this is stuff I've been screaming for the last 10 years. And here it is on TV. And I didn't think it would resonate with anyone, but it is. It's resonating. I love it. I mean, I don't love
and in Star Wars, no less. Like that's the other crazy thing.
Star Wars, no less. What are the odds?
But I mean, George Lucas was kind of talking about,
totally.
a little bit, so it wasn't his mind.
And he just wasn't as good a writer. Right. It's not his fault.
Tony wasn't like a Star Wars fan. He just like took this medium, but it's so fucking funny because it's like you're not a Star Wars fan, but you totally captured what was going on with what George was trying to say in the prequels and the whole texture of like living in that universe. And
because an anti-fascist message is always evergreen. Yeah. Always. That's the horror of Earth. It's always evergreen. But I agree with you. Yeah, this was this point when we go back to the original series. Then we did the prequels with the Trade Federation and everything. He is very clearly aware of what it means to fight against fascism. He's very well aware of the games fascism plays to hide in broad daylight, the way it pretends to be your friend or pretends to look out for you, pretends to protect you, law and order, these monsters, blah, blah, blah. Don't be a Syril. Don't buy into this. Don't believe that the fascist government's going to protect you. It won't. They'll throw you out like anybody else.
Yeah.
100%. That's what his mom says too. Doesn't she say something to that extent where it's like they're using you or like you're just going to be thrown out or something like that?
I forgot about that.
You need to have some self-worth or whatever. And so
I forgot about that. Wow, you're right.
But
we didn't see enough of her this season.
That's right. Yeah. Girl. We see her in these last 3 episodes. She show up in these last 3?
No.
Yeah. Oh wait. No.
Wait. Sorry, just to clarify, you haven't seen the last 3 episodes?
I have not. But it's okay. Fuck. Don't worry about spoilers. It's okay. I'm not a spoiler biggie.
I'm sorry.
I'm not. I'm the opposite of Louis.
Well, I can't wait for you to get through these last 3 episodes.
You know what I do, Ed? Ed especially appreciate this. I didn't see the last episode of Rome I saw it 10 years after I saw the rest because I hate watching the last episode of things I hate it, so I'll put it off. I did it with Deadwood. I put it off years. So I'm like, well, the show's still going on. I just got to finish it.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid to finish Andor. I don't want to.
No, but then you have the luxury of diving back into Rogue One, which it does give so many new layers to it.
So great.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like what you're talking about, the what's Krennic, seems like just from listening to you guys talk about Krennic in these last 3 episodes, it sounds like I understand his anxiety and his anger a lot more in Rogue One because he's really on edge.
Yeah.
And he wasn't as on edge when we saw him in Andor, but this makes a lot of sense.
There's some yummy stuff that you're going to get with Krennic and Dedra. And like I said, with Luthen and Kleya, where it's going, but there's so much juicy things that you can just take. And the performance between Krennic and Dedra when she's being interrogated, the way he manhandles her a little bit, I don't know, Ed, you're talking about the way he holds her head and grabs her, and just there's some sort of animalism that he brings to the table during that scene, and it's just so well performed by him.
But also the juxtaposition of that moment compared to that moment where he has, like I was mentioning earlier, with Major Partagaz or whatever, that you're going from a superior officer to a subordinate to 2 officers at the same level who are in charge of different elements, but are both about to face the consequences of.
But Krennic also thinks of himself very highly because he's in charge of the Death Star, and that's why in Rogue One when he gets undercutted, he's like, "I'm in charge of the Death Star."
Yeah. He yells at Tarkin.
And Tarkin's like, "I don't think so," and it just and that's my boy. You're kind of the I don't know.
But in that moment, he's displaying that air of just it is all for show. He is like a puffed up peacock, just trying to put people down and make them feel, but underneath all of that, he's an insecure, fuckwit.
Same with Dedra.
That's why everyone
she's peacocking too. With I know you haven't gotten to it, but during that hospital scene where she's just I'm shutting things down. I am ISB. I do understand. I'm in control. I'm doing this, and she just sets the precedent of power and control. But no. Even someone else is higher than above you, so.
Right. That's why everyone needs to have a run-in with Vader at least once. All these Imperials need a run-in with Vader.
And Vader has
be careful not to choke
Palpatine.
on your aspirations. Right. And then Vader obeys. Vader doesn't have but he listens. Yes, sir. Yes, my master. Yeah, he obeys.
Yeah.
But everyone needs a run into Vader so Vader can choke him, and they go, "Oh, my bad. I'm not the best here."
Choke me, daddy.
Yeah. So Dedra would love it. Yeah, I saw that. No, that's great. I'll probably watch those 3 tonight. Actually, you guys convinced me. I just have to. I love them so much. I get so excited when it's happening. Yeah. I'm usually walking around yelling at the TV. Like, I don't just sit and watch it.
At the very least, just watch the first one and then maybe watch the final 2 back to back, because they are kind of they lead into each other.
I will say this, Ed, and like when I was watching the last episode, and I kept looking. I was like, wait a second. There's only 20 minutes left? Wait a second. It's only 15? 10? What the hell? And I did feel like, wait, but I feel like there's so much more we could be doing. And it's just it's a final act that you don't, I feel like, expect, but is very human. And that's all I'm going to say. Sweet. And I look forward to our, like,
it's not explosive because that's what the movie is supposed to be.
Understood. Wow. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little bit. It's a quieter. Yeah. It's a quieter but again, it's because of where it's going, and it wouldn't have made sense to go any louder. But with everything that precedes it's almost like a nice moment of calm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. That's great to know. See, if I was a producer, like if I was to work for Disney, I would be like, all those time jumps that happen in Andor, like it's like 1 year later. I would be like, surely there's a show we can do in there. We can get Diego Luna back, do a little show in that 1 year. Like, this is what I'd be thinking. I'd be like, we got plenty of time. We don't have to say goodbye to Andor. We can just do that year. Or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We could do the adventures of
I think there was a period before they locked it down where this is going to be a 5-season show. And each year was supposed to be a year of before it happened. But then
I see.
Then I think in production he thought better, and he was like, no, I think we just do it 2 seasons and we just jump. Because honestly, let's think about it too. Like the longevity of shows, like sometimes after a few seasons, people start drifting. And
right.
The amount of specificity and effort it took just to do this fucking show, do that 3 more times. Holy fuck. Like, that's a lot of work.
It would have gone repetitive. There would have been tired story arcs, that would have increasingly become forgettable. There's just like, oh yeah, I remember like season 3 or whatever, but not much happened or whatever. It's like, I think the 1-2 punch literally of these seasons really
that's well said. Yeah,
made like a unique and because they had the closer of Rogue One, I guess they had something to work towards. But they're in lesser hands. This really could have been drugged out.
Oh yeah, drugged out.
Yeah, drugged up and drugged out.
If you're Shakespearean.
Yeah. But yeah, no, what a perfect little series.
Yes. I'm so glad it exists. Thank you to everyone who made it, from the costume designers, the set, the writers, the actors, just everyone,
like
home run.
And one thing, like final thing that I'll mention, but is just the fact that there are these directors that I never really even knew whenever they popped up, personally for me.
Yeah,
wow, who are these people? And then I looked up their IMDb, and it's just like they have done these kind of like small, intimate, serious things, and it's like the talent and the I want to shout out the production team who are able to bring together these directors that can execute this vision, because they're able to say, hey, you're going to take ownership for these 3 episodes, you're going to take ownership for these 6, and they were able to find and hire somebody who could deliver it. And I was just like, wow, I'm interested to see these other directors in their other careers. Like, I hope, I don't know, I just hope that they do well. So
the ditto. Absolutely. Just a bit of great. I feel just as a final, my whole central thesis would be, I just feel so lucky to be able to watch this show, because it's the kind of show I couldn't even dream up if I had to. I couldn't have imagined it. And it's so much better than I ever expected. And it does exactly what I want it to do and more. And I feel when it's, especially, I love politics. It's what I went to school for. It's what I worked in. It's what I did my career. I love it. I understand it. And when I see someone else who does as well and they make art, I can't believe it. Because I like politics, but I can't make art.
And throw in some Star Wars action figures.
And Star Wars. Come on. I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's one of those shows that, because it is so good, you occasionally forget it is a Star Wars show. And then there's something so comforting when, like, you start seeing stormtroopers in the background, or, like I said, like, you got aliens peppered in. It's not like an overabundance of CGI or whatever. It's just like, you know, these little subtle details that make the whole world feel a little bit more real. You know, the galaxy a little bit more real. Like, the world, it's not just like fucking desert planets everywhere. It's like different, you know, environments, different, you know, cultures everywhere they're going. The Gormans, you know, the people on Coruscant and so on. It's they really just did wonders with this very small, insignificant character that I don't think anybody was betting on.
That is now like a key character in the Star Wars universe.
Character forever. I literally looked at Sarah the other day, and she hasn't been watching the show, but I was just like, why didn't we name Lawrence Cassian? It's
not too late.
Cassian Ball. It's got a ring to it.
It sure does.
Yeah, it's not bad.
KS2SO Ball.
Yeah. K2SO, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or Palpatine.
No, that's all right.
It can come around.
After Ray Palpatine, that's more than enough Palpatines.
Ray Palpatine. I forgot.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Never forget.
Well,
never forget.
It was so good chatting with Andor with y'all. Steve,
I'm so glad we got to talk about it. Yeah,
me too. Thanks for having me on. Thanks so much.
I feel like since you have 3 episodes left, I feel like we could just on our side, we should just text and like talk. You know,
I do want to hear your thoughts on it. The last few.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry, like I dived so hard into spoilers, but.
I didn't warn you, and it doesn't bother me. It's a weird thing to say, but I promise you I don't care. I think I already forgot. So I don't. Okay. It's not a thing.
I mean, it's still a lot to unpack in just those 3. Yeah. So, yeah, it's going to be good.
I'll forget. You know what I'll remember? After it happens, I'll go, oh, I think Ed said that. Like, that's what'll happen. That's why I don't care about spoilers.
All right.
Because I always forget, and then I remember after. Yeah. So no worries, man. None.
There. I just started it. I started the chat. Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening. Listen, tune in later this week. We're going to do an episode about, you know, entertainment and movies and things like that. But thanks for listening. It's been me, Luis Gonzalez, and with me has been
Ed Bull
and Steven Escobar.
And until next time, later, Gators.
Later, Gators.